Hey, quick shout out to my good friend Carlos Johnson, who I'm collaborating with, and hopefully we get to do something really special together. I wanted to make this quick video to address a couple of questions that he had, and perhaps others have had as well. And that is after you go through the ClasStars training program and you understand the why, you understand the research, you understand the theory behind it, and how ClasStars actually works, the next question becomes, how do I actually use this in class while I'm teaching? That's the challenge. And so, in case it was not clear in the four modules, each module has its own, way of using it and how it should be used. I'm making this video to address those things. Okay. Now, here's how we look at it. There are two ways that you can use ClasStars. The first way, which is the more traditional way, and that is anything that you would typically keep record of. So, for example, traditionally, teachers have been keeping track of misbehaviors of kids coming in and out of the classroom, formative assessment. There are traditional ways of doing that, and ClasStars provides a much simpler way to do that. Okay, so we've got over here the ClasStars screen. We're in the middle of the session. Okay, so traditionally, you would take out your pen, take out some piece of paper or roll book or something like that, and keep record of misbehaviors. With ClasStars, it's so quick and so simple. You've got your entire class right here. And if a student misbehaves, all you need to do is swipe down on their picture, just like that. And in a second, you recorded that that student did something that they should not have done at a specific time, because everything is timestamped. And again, this is more elaborated in module 2, identifying invisible progress. Okay, if you want more data, you tap the single swipe toggle button right there. And then when I swipe down on a student, I get the misbehavior wheel that will show you the common misbehaviors. Again, all of this is elaborated on there. So here, instead of taking out your pen, instead of going over to the computer and start typing in notes and things like that, you keep this within reach. And as soon as you can, you just pull it up, swipe down. And again, in this case where you have the wheel, you tap on the item in the wheel that best matches the behavior that you've observed. Okay, so it's just a really quick swipe and tap function that allows you to collect very meaningful data in a very quick amount of time. If a student needs to leave the room, same thing, a swipe to the right activates on full function mode the real-time attendance wheel. You can learn more about that in the real-time attendance module, module 4 in the training. But just real quick, you get that, you tap on why the student left, you'll see that student's picture fade. And with the icon there, when the student comes back, you just double tap on that. And this is regular traditional record keeping that has been done for many, many years in school. And ClasStars just makes it super simple, super quick. And of course, we have great dashboards and charts that after class you can look at and see if students are doing better, if the intervention is working or not. That's the first function. The second thing, and this is really comes to the heart and soul of ClasStars, and that is we want to make sure that every child is seen every day. We want to make sure that every child is recognized, is valued, is built up, and no one should go unnoticed, because those are the kids that are most at risk, those kids that are going unnoticed. So we have, again, not a point system, but a way to make sure that you're giving every kid positive feedback and every kid is getting the support and encouragement that they need. And when a teacher does that, which is completely in our control, we can complement, we can support any child that we choose to. The problem is just we get distracted from them with the other things that are going on in the classroom. So ClasStars makes it super simple. Again, when you give a kid positive feedback, you just swipe up on their picture just like that. And you see the green notches that are next to every kid. That keeps the last 2 days of positive feedback. So there are 2 times that you have in your class. There is what we call the instruction time, or when you're wearing your information delivery hat, your instruction hat. That's the hat that you wear when you're teaching. Okay, you're not complimenting the kids necessarily during that time. Now you might be teaching something and someone makes some positive contribution and you compliment them on that, and you don't have your tablet nearby to give them positive feedback. That's okay. You don't need to record every single compliment. The problem is not that kids are getting too much encouragement and we have to pull it back. The problem is the kids that are at risk of not getting enough encouragement. So if you do give a kid some kind of positive feedback within the course of your teaching and you're in the flow, don't break that flow. let it go. If you can't record it, that's okay. The key is to make sure that there are times after you've done teaching when you're collecting the feedback from the kids and making sure that they understand it, asking them questions, watching them engage with each other, whatever it might be. Then you have this nearby and you just make sure you look at this and you can right away see on the screen which kids have gotten positive feedback in the last 2 days, which kids have not, and you prioritize those kids. In fact, a lot of really good teachers at the end of the day will look through their roster and identify the kids that they need to highlight for the next day. With ClasStars, you don't need to do that. You don't need to spend any time after class to see which kids you haven't gotten, because the next day when you come into class and you bring up the screen, you're going to see the green meter next to every kid. And the kids that have nothing in their meter need to be prioritized the most because they've gotten the least positive feedback over the last 2 days. And then you continue working with the kids with the least. You prioritize always the kids with the least positive feedback. As you engage them in positive ways and as you encourage them and support them, their meters will fill up. You're filling their buckets, right? You're depositing into that account. There's so many analogies that teachers use to understand this concept of making sure to support and encourage and to fill this kid with strength, that kind of inner strength that is so important. Okay. And ClasStars makes that super simple and allows you to cut through all of the noise, all of the bias. It doesn't matter who that kid is, where they come from, what their background is, what they look like, what they think, what they believe. They're in your class. They deserve your support and you should see them and support them every day. And ClasStars makes that super simple. So this is how ClasStars works in real time, because everything is timestamped and that time context is so important. So again, if you miss something, it's not the end of the world. You can let it go. You can actually input it later if you'd like, but even if you don't, that's okay. Catching the misbehaviors, super important. You do that anyway. This makes it simpler. Positive feedback, encouragement. Make sure that you designate some time. And again, we have the 5 minutes for 5 days challenge where you designate a minute at a time at 5 different points throughout the period where you're solely focused on encouraging, on filling those kids with the support that they need. And that's how ClasStars works. So I hope that this clarifies any questions that you might have. Again, shout out to Carlos Johnson, image of success. What a rock star. What an honor to be working with him. And I wanted to just clear that up. Thank you.